When I slid my key into the lock that afternoon, it refused to turn. I twisted it gently at first, then harder, my hand trembling, as if the metal itself was mocking me. 2 weeks away in Florida visiting my sister Helen, and somehow my own house no longer recognized me. For a moment I stood there on the porch, the autumn breeze brushing against my hair, my heart pounding so fast I could hear it echo in my ears. The neighborhood looked the same rose bushes I trimmed every Sunday, the same front step Ryan painted for me last spring, but something was terribly off. Then I heard footsteps from inside, slow, deliberate, the sound of someone who felt at home. The door opened, and there she was, Amber Cole, my daughter-in-law. But it wasn't the polite, sugar-sweet Amber I'd known for 3 years. This version wore a smile as cold as the November air. She crossed her arms and tilted her head, almost amused. "Vivian," she said in that honeyed tone that hid venom underneath, "we changed the locks. This is our house now." For a second, my breath caught. Our house? I had bought this place with 40 years of sweat, mopping floors, scrubbing offices, polishing desks that never belonged to me. Every brick in these walls carried my name, my effort, my years of sacrifice. I stared at her and felt a mix of fury and disbelief rising inside, but I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I just smiled, a small, quiet smile that came from a place deeper than anger. "Is that so?" I said softly, my hand sliding into my purse where my phone rested, its red light already blinking. Amber frowned, confused by my calmness. What she didn't know was that I never came home empty-handed. I bought this house with nothing but determination and a mop. Back then, I was 30, a single mother with a 5-year-old boy who believed his mom could fix everything. When Ryan's father walked out on us, he didn't just leave an empty chair at the table, he left a mountain of bills and a heart that had to keep going, no matter what. I started working at a bakery at dawn, cleaning ovens and sweeping flour before the first customers arrived. From there, I went straight to an insurance office downtown. 30 offices, 6 bathrooms, 3 floors, all shining by the time I left. At night, while Ryan slept, I cleaned a small law firm. 3 hours of mopping, dusting, wiping desks. Some nights my legs would shake so hard that I had to crawl into bed. But I never stopped. Every dollar went into a coffee tin under my sink. Every blister was another brick towards something that would one day belong to us. When Ryan turned 20, I had saved $95,000. 10 more years later, I finally had enough to buy this house. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a big kitchen, and a porch that faced the morning sun. The kind of place I had only dreamed of when we were living in a 1-bedroom apartment with a broken heater. I remember the first day we moved in. Ryan ran through the halls, laughing, his voice echoing against the bare walls. I stood there, tears in my eyes, thinking, this is home. This is safety. Every picture I hung, every curtain I sewed by hand, told the story of what I had lost and what I had built again. For years, I believed this house would be my reward for a lifetime of sacrifice, a legacy for my son, and later for his family. But I was wrong. I thought I was building safety. I was actually building the perfect stage for my own heartbreak. Amber came into our lives like a warm breeze after a long winter. Ryan introduced her one sunny afternoon at the park, his hand wrapped around hers, his eyes glowing with the kind of joy I hadn't seen in years. "Mom, this is Amber," he said. "She's the one." Amber smiled sweetly, extending her hand with a charm that could melt ice. "I've heard so much about you, Mrs. Cole. Ryan says you're the strongest woman he knows." Those words went straight to my heart. What mother doesn't melt when someone admires her son and praises her sacrifices? In the months that followed, Amber became everything I thought a daughter-in-law should be. She helped in the kitchen, asked for my recipes, brought me flowers, even called me Mom. I believed I had gained another daughter. When they got married, I offered them to stay in my house temporarily until they saved for their own. "Just a few months," I said. "You'll be on your feet soon." Temporary. That word would come back to haunt me. The first year was peaceful. We cooked together, laughed in the evenings, shared Sunday breakfasts. But then, little by little, things began to change. It started with small comments. "Vivian, maybe we should modernize the living room," Amber suggested one day. Or, "This old sofa doesn't match our style." Our style. The first time she said that, something in my chest tightened. When her friends came over, I'd hear her giggle and say, "Yes, we're still living with Ryan's mom, but it's temporary." Temporary. Every time that word left her mouth, it felt like a countdown had started, one that would end with me losing everything I had built. It was a quiet Monday morning when the phone rang. I was folding laundry in the living room when I heard a calm male voice on the line. "Mrs. Cole, this is Mr. Morales from Houston. I'm calling with difficult news. Your sister Helen Parker passed away last night." The world seemed to stop for a moment. Helen and I hadn't spoken much in recent years, but she was my only sister, my childhood partner in every struggle. I pressed the phone tighter against my ear as he continued, "Mrs. Parker left you as her sole heir. Properties, savings, and investments all totaling approximately $340,000. My knees almost gave out. $340,000? I whispered. Not out of greed, but disbelief. That kind of money could change my life. I could fix the roof, remodel the kitchen, maybe even travel for the first time in decades. What I didn't realize was that Amber was standing in the hallway, listening to every word. That afternoon, her tone changed completely. She made me coffee, hugged me, even asked if I needed help with the paperwork. "I'm so sorry about your sister," she said softly, her eyes glinting with something I couldn't name. "But at least you won't have to worry about money now. You deserve comfort at your age." At my age. The words stung, but I brushed them aside. For the first time in years, I felt hopeful. Over the next few days, Amber's sweetness grew. She offered to help manage my finances. "Ryan works at the bank, Mom," she said. "He understands investments. We could make that money grow." We. That small word slipped out like a shadow, and I should have noticed it then. But I didn't. I wanted to believe her kindness was genuine. I wanted to believe that, finally, family meant safety again. 3 weeks after Helen's passing, I woke up to the sound of a voice drifting from the kitchen. It was 2 a.m., the kind of quiet hour when even the refrigerator hums softly. I slipped on my robe and followed the faint murmur of words. Amber was on the phone, her back turned to me, her tone low but urgent. "Mom, it's almost done," she whispered. The old woman has no clue. She's so thrilled about being the generous grandmother that she'll sign anything we put in front of her. I froze, my blood turning to ice. Amber continued, pacing lightly. "Ryan's already working on her, convincing her to transfer the house for tax reasons. Once we have the papers, my cousin will handle the rest. The power of attorney, the joint account, everything." There was a pause, then a faint laugh. "Don't worry, Mom. Once we declare her mentally unfit, we'll move her into a care facility. Ryan will sign the papers without hesitation. He trusts me more than her." I pressed a hand to my mouth to keep from gasping. My son, my only child, the boy I raised with blisters and night shifts, was ready to sign away my life. Amber kept talking. "Once the sale goes through, we'll clear nearly $1 million. Between the house and her inheritance, we'll be set for life. And when she's in the nursing home, she won't even remember any of it." Her words cut deeper than any knife. I backed away slowly, trembling, my heart shattering with every step. But in that same moment, another feeling began to rise, cold, steady, and sharper than fear. That night, I buried the mother who always forgave, and I awakened as the woman who would fight back. The next morning, I acted like nothing had happened. I smiled through breakfast, asked about Ryan's work, complimented Amber's pancakes. Inside, I was studying every move, every glance, every word they said. If they were planning a quiet betrayal, I would master the art of silent revenge. The first person I called was my oldest friend, Linda Foster. We had been neighbors for 40 years, sisters by heart if not by blood. When she answered the phone, my voice was steady. "Linda, I need your help. And I need you to promise you won't ask too many questions." Within an hour, she was sitting at my kitchen table, her brow furrowed as I told her everything I'd overheard. "Those snakes," she whispered. "What are you going to do?" "I'm going to let them think they've already won," I replied. "But I need proof, real proof." Linda brought over her small voice recorders from the neighborhood meetings. We hid one behind the kitchen clock, another in the living room bookshelf, and a third near the phone. I also learned how to record from my cell without showing the screen. My house became a trap, and they didn't even notice. At the same time, I started meeting with lawyers quietly, under the pretense of estate planning. Mr. Hernandez explained the laws on family fraud. If someone forges your signature or tricks you into signing, that's a serious felony. Ms. Ruiz warned me never to sign a broad power of attorney. With that, they could sell your property, empty your accounts, even commit you to a facility. And Mr. Morales, my late sister's lawyer, advised me to update my will and secure all assets under legal protection. By the end of that week, I had everything I needed: knowledge, a plan, and a mask of confusion. I started forgetting small things on purpose, misplacing keys, repeating questions. "Oh dear, what day is it again?" I'd ask sweetly. Amber began to smile that fake smile more often, believing her lie was working. "She's getting worse," I heard her tell Ryan one night. Perfect. But I wasn't losing my mind. I was learning their playbook. A few days later, I told Amber I was going to visit my cousin in Florida for 2 weeks. She smiled too quickly, the way guilty people do when good news falls into their laps. "That's wonderful, Vivian," she said. "Ryan and I will take care of everything while you're gone." That afternoon, when they went out shopping, I called Linda. "It's time," I told her. Within hours, she introduced me to a private investigator she trusted, Sergio Mendoza, a retired cop who specialized in family fraud cases. His handshake was firm, his eyes calm. "Miss Cole," he said, "my job is simple. I'll record everything they do while you're away. Photos, audio, video, all legally admissible." The next morning, instead of going to the airport, I checked into the Royal Inn, a small hotel 20 minutes from my house. I paid in cash and registered under my maiden name. From there, Sergio began his work. The first few days, the footage was routine: Ryan and Amber moving my belongings into the garage, going through my drawers, opening mail that wasn't theirs. But on the third day, the trap snapped shut. One camera caught Amber on the phone. "Yes, Javier, bring the documents tomorrow," she said. "The power of attorney, the house transfer, the bank forms, all of it." There was a man's voice faintly asking something, and Amber laughed. "No, I don't need her signature. I've got samples of her handwriting. Your secretary can copy it like last time." Like last time. My stomach turned as I watched the recording later that night. They had forged my name before, and now they were ready to do it again. The next day, Sergio's cameras showed them meeting with a real estate agent in the living room. The woman looked around and said, "In this market, you could sell for around $520,000. Amber nodded. "Perfect. My mother-in-law is developing dementia. We need to sell quickly before she gets worse." Every word, every lie was caught on camera. The evidence was piling up, and I knew that when I walked back into that house, I wouldn't be coming home empty-handed. I'd be walking in with justice. On October 25th, I returned to my house at exactly 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The taxi pulled up to the curb, and I stared at the front door, the door they had claimed as their own. In my purse sat a small USB drive holding over 100 hours of recordings. Proof, truth, justice. When I tried the key, it didn't turn. Again, I almost smiled. Everything was going exactly as I expected. Moments later, Amber opened the door, surprise flashing across her face before arrogance settled back in. "Vivian," she said, folding her arms, "we told you things have changed. This is our home now." "Yes," I said calmly, "things have changed." She blinked, thrown off by my tone. I reached into my purse and pressed record on my phone. "Call Ryan," I told her. "We need to talk. All three of us." Ryan appeared moments later, eyes down, guilt already written across his face. "Mom, maybe we should." "Sit," I interrupted. "Both of you." We gathered in the backyard, the autumn wind rustling the leaves around us. I placed my phone on the table, pressed play, and let the first recording fill the air. Amber's voice, crystal clear. "The old woman has no clue. She'll sign anything." Ryan's head snapped toward her. "Amber, what is this?" "Keep listening," I said. The next part played her conversation with her cousin about forging my signature, about the sleeping pills, about selling the house for $500,000. The color drained from Ryan's face. "Mom," he stammered, "I didn't know." "Yes, you did," I said quietly. "I have every word, every meeting, every lie." Amber stood up, trembling but defiant. "You can't prove anything." I reached into my purse and placed the USB drive on the table. "Actually, I can. I never went to Florida. I spent 2 weeks watching you destroy your own lives." At that moment, a black car pulled up in front of the house. Out stepped Mr. Hernandez and 2 police officers. I looked at Amber one last time. "You changed my locks, Amber," I said softly. "Now I'm changing your life." The next few minutes felt like the ending of a long nightmare. The officers read them their rights as Amber shouted about misunderstandings and Ryan kept repeating, "Mom, please. I'm sorry." But it was too late. Every second of their scheme was documented, every word recorded in high definition. Mr. Hernandez handed the officers a folder. Inside are signed transcripts, time-stamped videos, and certified audio copies, he said firmly. Enough to secure multiple felony charges: family fraud, forgery, attempted dispossession of property, and elder abuse. Amber's defiance crumbled as the handcuffs clicked around her wrists. "You can't do this to family," she cried. I looked straight at her. "You did it to yourself." Ryan, trembling, turned toward me, tears streaming down his face. "Mom, please forgive me. I thought it was harmless. I didn't realize." I shook my head. "You realized the moment you chose her plan over your conscience." As they were escorted into the patrol cars, the neighborhood stood silent, watching. For years, I had cleaned offices filled with lawyers, men who treated me as invisible. But those same people would now make sure justice was served. I knew the law, and this time it was on my side. Months later, the verdict came. Ryan was sentenced to 18 years in prison. Amber received 22 for being the mastermind. The court ordered restitution, $150,000 in damages, plus full recovery of my home and savings. With that money and the inheritance from Helen, I bought a smaller house on the edge of town. Linda moved next door, and we spent our mornings drinking coffee on the porch, watching the sunrise. For the first time in decades, I wasn't working to survive. I was living in peace, surrounded by honesty. Justice had come, not loud, not violent, but quiet and absolute, just the way I planned it. Sometimes, people mistake kindness for weakness. They think a quiet woman won't fight back. That age means surrender. That love means forgiveness without limits. But they're wrong. I spent 40 years cleaning offices for men who thought I was invisible. I raised a son who forgot who built his world. I opened my home to a woman who saw generosity as an opportunity. Yet through it all, I learned something powerful: silence is not submission. It's strategy. When Amber and Ryan changed the locks, they didn't lock me out. They unlocked a part of me that had slept for years, the woman who knew her worth. And once a woman like that wakes up, there's no going back. I don't tell this story out of bitterness. I tell it so that no one else stays quiet when they're being pushed aside, so that every mother, grandmother, or woman who's been made to feel small remembers her strength. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs courage today. Hit like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? Because strength has no age, and justice always finds its way home.